right here, Sharp Facets Gallery this afternoon. Hey, I'm Ann Eller, here with one of our favorite guests, Karen Pettay with the Humane Society, Executive Director. How you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Ann. Thank you for asking me to be here. I love to be here.
Well, Gracie likes you to be here.
I love Gracie so much.
She really likes the smells that you bring with you, Karen.
And it's so easy to accomplish. I don't have to buy them.
Yes, that's right. No special perfume required?
Yep.
Nope. Just hanging out with all the animals, right?
Yep. And it's like she's greeting a whole crowd of animals every time we see each other.
Yes. But she has settled down here this afternoon, so who knows how lucky we'll be this afternoon, Karen. So, what's been going on with the Humane Society? Seen you in the news a lot of things happening. You got a new van.
Oh, I'm so excited about the van. You heard me squeal when you even mentioned the van earlier. Yes, that's a project that we worked on not for a very long period of time, but we knew we wanted it. It was just getting ourselves motivated to really reach out to the community and other groups to help us fund it. And lo and behold, the community wanted us to have a van as much as we did because it happened so quickly. And it has been a godsend. And we use it every opportunity. And it's so much better for transporting animals. It's safer than the back of a pickup truck with a camper shell. And it's much more professional driving. Have you seen the van out about town?
Yeah.
People look at it like we're on parade. It's so exciting. They wave and honk their horn. So it's been a boost to our morale as well to have people smile when they see us go by.
Sure. So that's a good thing that's been happening. But there's been a lot of good things happening.
We're moving forward. I feel like we've hit warp speed, and you know, because we've spoken together so often over the last 2 or 3 years. You know, where are you on a new shelter? And we knew the need was there. I want to say that our efforts in working with the county council have been the best and the most productive ever, and just used to grow by leaps and bounds. And county council has appointed a group of 3 councilmen, and Rossi Corwin from the Special Project Engineering Department at the county on a new architectural review committee, and the Humane Society has 4 representatives as well. So the 8 of us will be working together to identify the needs for a shelter here in Greenwood, and land, architect, the whole 9 yards. And so we're moving forward, and the Humane Society has been given the lead role in this project, and we have hopefully a 120-day timeline from when this was discussed a month ago to get everything to where we slap down a proposal before all of county council with total cost, the whole proposed, everything site, and just get this thing moving.
So are we looking at building a brand new site?
Yes, right now the county has identified some pieces of property that they own, so it would be of no cost to the project. That would be in a good location, and of course meets all the zoning codes that you would imagine are in place for putting an animal shelter in the county. And it would be in a good distance from everything. So if that happens, and that would take away a big factor of
cost.
And finding a suitable site.
Sure. So I guess that have you started collecting funds for this, or
not officially yet?
Okay.
That's part of all this negotiation process is trying to figure out, number one, what would be the total cost, and then how the funding would come about. And it is a county shelter, and of course, as you know, we are contracted by the county to operate it, and we have been since 2002, but it's not our shelter. We don't have a shelter.
Okay. The Humane Society.
Correct. The Humane Society is a nonprofit, and we've been hired to run the shelter on their behalf. And they know, too, that we can offer a lot of benefits that if it's just solely run by the municipality, you know, the donation factor. We can collect donations, and if people want to write that off as a charitable donation, they can do that, and that can be much more attractive to the people to want to give versus just giving to the government. So we are out there as the smiling, happy face, the mission-minded folks that are working really hard to not just take care of the animals while they're there at the shelter, but trying to get them out into a new home, be it through rescue, through local adoptions, and of course the ultimate is reuniting that stray animal with their family.
Now, just for the record, the way this works, the Humane Society, if it was just run by the county, you wouldn't have all these advantages of the things that the Humane Society does, and like reaching out for adoptions and this type of thing. Probably would it be more if somebody doesn't pick up the animal in 3 or 4 days, then it could be euthanized?
I think that would be much more of a reality, just because, and it's no secret, the county would just have limitations
Sure.
that we don't have as a nonprofit private agency. So to me, it's a perfect marriage of the two organizations. We're providing a service on behalf of the county to its citizens, and that is taking care of a facility. So there's not, we have 150 animals running freely, in addition to the ones that are still out there running free, and keeping them safe off the streets, and then trying to do a courtesy and improve the quality of life, because we're trying to provide homes for them. It's not just a storage facility where animals are then euthanized with no effort
Right.
to rehome them. And rescue groups will work with county shelters. I think it's easier for them to partner with the nonprofit. I know for grants and other larger scale donating, nonprofits just have an edge on that.
Sure. Well, I understand we got a lot of southern dogs going up north. Is that the truth?
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
Yes, that is the truth. That is, our year ended June 30th. I don't have all the statistics in my head, but we took in right at about 4,000 animals total, including geckos and whatnot. But of course, the majority being dogs and cats. We had somewhere between 250 and 300 dogs adopted locally versus over 670 that went up north.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, the spay-neuter programs have been going so strong up in those areas of the and other areas of the country,
Sure.
so that they don't have near the overpopulation and the saturation of unwanted animals like we do. So we want to get to that point. It's expensive to get animals transported. So I'm glad we have this for now, but the ultimate goal is to be in the same state of not having the problem that they
Of
do.
nirvana.
Yeah,
The same state of nirvana.
Exactly, that would be for me. But the cost savings, the health savings. You don't have animals running rampant that could be, spreading things and knocking over your trash cans and digging up your gardens. It's just a nicer environment all the way around. And people, I know there's situations that are extremes in other parts of the country, but I think you see less, perhaps, having too many animals and you can't provide quality care for all of them, so they have maybe one or two, and those animals get the kind of care that they need, veterinary and otherwise, that maybe down in this area where there's just so many, people are trying to do the best they can, they have more than they can handle, and they don't get the kind of care that they should get.
Well, that is terrific. And I know sometimes on Facebook you'll even post an update from some lucky child that has been adopted up north.
I know.
Yeah.
Those are so great. I think there were some concerns when we first started doing this. Well, what are they doing with those animals going up north? Are they going to laboratories? There was we didn't have a concern. We knew it was good, but the general public down here. So to get those follow-up stories showing these animals and the most wonderful of situations, it was almost like commercials.
Right.
It was just that perfect picture. And I think it's not only, we love it just to see it, I think people feel better and more confident in the program.
Well, how is are we still seeing as many dogs and cats being turned in because people can't afford them?
I think there's a slight decrease, and there's a lot of factors that come into play with that. I think if you compare to the 2009, 2010, yes, because we were over, I think, 4,500 animals that year, that time frame, and we're down to 3,900, almost 4,000. And that's, even though that's not the kind of jump or drop you'd like to see, it makes a difference. That's still 500. Wrap your head around that. Less animals that we're having to care for, that are having to be housed at the old shelter. So it's a winning thing for us. It's still a lot of animals to have 4,000 come in.
Right.
But any drop is welcome for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's terrific. Hey, I tell you what, we're here with Karen Pettay. She is the Executive Director of the Humane Society. So if you have a question for Karen, give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984. We'll be back after this word. Oh, that's right. We're right back over here, Sharp Facets Gallery. One of the things that I just learned is they are actually no longer having to send the cats for spay-neuter. You're doing them right here.
Yeah, all the shelter cats are being done here locally, and I couldn't be more thankful to Dr. Paula Watkins and Dr. I forgot her first name. I call her Dr. Freeze, Dr. Tiffany Freeze. They are offering their services to neuter and spay the cats for us down here. So that saves a lot in terms of even stress on the cats, and it also frees up space on the van now, and we could just put dogs on there.
Sure. And then the dogs are still going, what was it, up to Spartanburg?
That's for Animal Allies, for the public to have their pets done. That goes up there. For us, we're transporting to Greenville Humane Society because they have grant monies, so our costs are really, really low.
Oh, okay.
That they can offer to what I call sister shelters.
Okay. But are you still doing where they're taking them up to people if they want to get their animals spayed?
Yes. In fact, I can give you dates of
Okay.
the next transports. The next one is July 29th, next week. I think that might be Tuesday. Don't quote me. Then August 5th and August 19th. And if anyone wants to have their dog or cat go on the free transport from our facility to Animal Allies, they need to call Animal Allies, and that number is 864-576-6971, and book the appointment. Tell them they want to have their pet go on the Greenwood transport, and that information is also on our website, which is www.gwdhumanesociety.org. And if you go to the spay neuter menu link, it'll have that information available for you.
You know, one of my favorite commercials on TV is the one where they have the dog jumps in the car and the little girl gets in the car and she's reading the GPS and she goes, "Mom, what is neutering?" And the dog goes, "Ah!" and jumps out of the car. Yeah.
I know. I'm sure they don't. They're like, "Oh, car ride." Okay.
Yeah, right.
Woo.
Yeah.
But it's a one day. I mean, it would be just like if you go to any clinic. I mean, it's drop them off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, and it's a real simple, quick turnaround, and everything's been great. It's going very well. As I shared with you, there was some hesitation in the beginning 2 years ago when we became participants in this program, but now people don't seem to have near the reservations of having their pet go on the transport.
And, you know, in truth, unless you're actually going to breed the animal, there is no need to not have this done.
Look, don't even get me started in. You're right. And not only that, the behavioral changes, benefits, and medical benefits far outweigh just not doing it.
Right.
Or because if you look at any unneutered male, there are so many behaviors that they exhibit that turn people off and can land them at the shelter.
Right.
That can be curbed simply by having them neutered. And females, the same thing. When they go into heat, especially cats, it's just not a pretty sight. And I can't even imagine putting up with that. So, you know, again, that could stop a lot of animals from coming to the shelter because people don't associate simply having their pets sterilized could modify the behavior that they don't like and can't seem to control. Well, no,
Sure.
you can't control it. It's hormones. The males are gonna climb the fences, dig the holes, do anything they can
Sure.
to get to the in-heat female. It's just the way it is.
Right. It's the way of the world, right?
Think of them as teenagers.
Well, that's not a pretty sight.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. All right, so make sure that if you have a pet that you do get it neutered. Now, how are we doing on adoptions locally? I mean, do we have a lot of pets on hand right now that
We
you'd
do.
love to have somebody come out and take a look at?
We do. We have a lot of wonderful, wonderful dogs and cats, and we're a lot of cats going in and out through PetSmart, as you and I spoke about earlier. The dogs, it's been a little slow, and I'll tell you this time of year it is simply that way for a number of reasons. It's vacation time. People don't normally think about bringing a new pet into their home. They're going on vacation, and also we have so many coming in. It's just a reverse of supply and demand. So we usually see it picking up fall when school goes back, and definitely at Christmas time. That's when we usually have our peak number of adoptions. However, I can tell you they're coming in faster during the summer, so it creates a real serious problem for us trying to manage that population.
Well, in truth, it might be a good time if you were interested in getting a pet, you'd have more selection.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
I mean, just
right,
think about it,
exactly, exactly. Not only that, but if you don't have to go to work because you're on vacation, that's a good time to bring a new pet because you have the time to be there, to acclimate it, and have it
Yes.
adjust to its new home.
Exactly, exactly. So I remember, and they need extra care when you first bring them home. After they know that they're safe and that they're not going to be leaving again, it changes their attitude. But at first, when I got Gracie, she was very skittish. I mean, she'd be out the door and she'd be down the street because she was trying to figure out how to go back to where she was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a very good point. And so, I just think that any time of year is a good time to adopt a pet.
Sure.
Because any time of year we're having them brought to us and we need to find new homes for them.
Now, one of the other things that's good about adopting a pet from the Humane Society is they have all their shots. They've been checked. They've been spayed and neutered.
Yes. The cost savings is phenomenal. And I think any vet would readily agree that the medical services and all the dotting of the I's, so to speak, and crossing of the T's on that new pet is so affordable when you adopt them directly from us, because it's only $85 for dogs, it's $15 for adult cats 1 and older, and $50 for kittens, because they require a few more tests and shots when they're at that young age, and it costs a little bit more on our side.
Sure. So hours out there at the shelter if somebody wants to come out and look at pets.
It's Monday through Saturday, 10 till 5.
10 to 5. And last year at Christmas time, did you open up on Sunday for a while?
I can't remember. We are always trying to do something special that ties in with different holidays, so I'm sure our adoption manager has something up her sleeves that she's thinking about.
Sure. Well, and speaking of adoption, you have looking for an adoption counselor.
We have a part-time opening right now for an adoption counselor, and they also do take care of animals first thing in the morning. And we're looking for people who are customer friendly. This is the part of the business where there's a lot of discussion, and we call it counseling because, and you might try to pick out an animal that we know this dog is not going to be a good fit for your home.
Right.
You tell us what you want, and we know that this dog looks like what you would like to have, but behavior-wise may not be the best fit. So let's match you up. It's like love connection. So this person,
match game.
Exactly.
Match game. There you go.
So this person has to be able to, help people decide on which pet would fit their situation and their lifestyle and activity level, blah, blah, blah. But also has to be very geared towards the animals and be very aware of behavioral concerns or health concerns and computer skills. There's a lot of things required for that person. We want them to wear many, many, many hats.
It's called working for a small nonprofit organization.
Amen.
That's right. Amen, sister.
That's
Okay.
exactly what it is.
Now, if somebody wants to apply, I see that it says your deadline is July 25th, which is tomorrow.
Correct. Right.
And they have to go on your website to get the application?
If they go right to our website, again at gwdhumanesociety.org, we have the posting. If you scroll down, you'll see that, and all the links to the appropriate paperwork to fill out the application. And you can certainly email us if it's the 25th and you're like, oh, I want to get it in, but I just found out. Just let us know, and we'll look for you to get that to us by Monday.
Okay. All right. So if you would like to be an adoption counselor, do they have to have any previous counseling experience?
No, but they have psychiatric counseling. I will just like to chat with them for a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Just on the side. No.
Do you let the cats lay on the sofa and talk to them? Yeah, there you go.
So,
Yeah.
No, this is definitely on-the-job training. Any animal experience certainly is going to be a boost to what they can do and shorten that learning curve, but we train them for everything they need to know.
Sure. But probably a prerequisite would be a love of animals.
I would hope so. And if you're allergic to any particular species, consider that before you
apply for the job.
Amen, yes.
All right. All right. Well, we are here with Karen Pettay. She is the executive director of the Humane Society. They've been working on a lot of good things. We're going to get into maybe some more about the future of the shelters, some other projects that are going on. So you keep it right here. And, of course, there's always a way that you can help the Humane Society. And when we come back, we'll talk more about that. Hey, I'm Ann Eller right here with Karen Pettay. Got a question or a comment? Give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984.
Are you a pirate or a pack rat? Do you have a vacation of a lifetime sitting in the attic? Or a college tuition hung on a wall? Or is a fabulous retirement hidden in your jewelry box? Bring those items to Sharp Facets Gallery. We can establish value and buy from you or sell for you. And so ends another chapter at Sharp Facets Gallery, 72 Bypass, and on the web, sharpfacets.com.
Oh, that's right. We're right back here. We're with Karen Pettay, the Executive Director out there at the Humane Society. In case you don't know where it is right behind the farmers market out there.
Yes.
Yes, that's right, at the Civic Center.
That's right.
Well, while the Civic Center is still there, what are we going to do when there's no Civic Center there? You're going to say at the spot where the Civic Center used to be.
Kind of like the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes, exactly. But anyways, you've got a lot of things going on. One of the things is you've got a fundraiser this Saturday.
That's right. We have a local auto club, Low Down Auto Concepts, came up to us and they said, we want to do a fundraiser for you. They want to be more involved in the community, and we were selected. And I said, bring it. They're going to do a supply drive. It'll be this Saturday from 11 to 5 at the Fountain in Uptown Greenwood. And there'll be a tent set up. You'll see the Humane Society tent. And we'll be there with a couple of dogs, and they'll be there collecting items that we really, really need, because we always need things, but this time of year with more animals to care for, we need more volume of those things. And I can tell you specifically, in addition to what's on our wish list, we really, really need dry kitten, cat, and puppy food.
And is there any particular brands that you like?
I would ask that we stick with some of the known brands like Purina, Pedigree, only because the animals are stressed out as it is, and their stomachs can get a little wound up. If we feed them low quality food, it's just going to make for a bigger mess and cause some health problems down the road. So we do ask for some middle of the road, not expensive, but certainly the kind of stuff that you would feed your own pet.
Sure. I think you had Purina, Special Kitty, Whiskas,
Yes.
9 Lives, Friskies, Pedigree, Purina, Old Roy.
That seems to be, okay.
Old Roy. Tell us about Old Roy.
Well, what I can tell you in a general sense that I had never thought of before, you can get the really, really high quality food for your pet. If they're used to eating middle of the road or lower quality, it's sort of like junk food for people. We get accustomed to the fast food and the candy, and when you try to offer us vegetables
Right.
and higher nutritional foods, we kind of
Turn
don't
up
want
our
them.
nose,
Yeah.
yes.
And, well, animals are the exact same way. They like comfort food just like we do. So, Old Roy is probably considered that comfort food.
Okay, all right. Well, Old Roy, dry puppy food, it says, and even dog and cat treats.
We use those to teach the dogs, especially at the adoption center, to kennel up, so they start learning things. We try to give them skills. We're getting them prepared for the world out there. And so we use those to train them and get them to go up. It works very well.
Well, one of the things that I think is always a question that people have is to crate or not to crate. That is the question.
I am more of a cat person.
Okay.
No crating involved in a cat. However, I didn't know about crating until I started working in this industry, and it's amazing how well it works for the majority of dogs. There are those extreme cases where they might have separation anxiety that crating is going to only exacerbate the problem and probably cause additional mental and emotional issues for the dog. But those are the extreme cases, and in that event I would get with a professional dog behavioral specialist.
Right.
But it makes common sense. They don't want to go to the bathroom inside their little area, so you just get their little body clock on a routine, and it's amazing. I've seen old dogs that didn't have any potty training skills. It works. Within a few days, they've got it as well, but it's up to the owner to make sure you keep on a routine. If you just happenstance in and out, you're going to still have a problem.
Sure. But, too, I think it becomes a comfort for the animal if it's done positively. Now, if it's done negatively, like in you were bad getting a crate.
Absolutely, and I've seen Great Pyrenees go into their crate that they had when they were puppies and barely fit in there, but that's their cave, it's their den, and you're absolutely right, and that is a comfort for them. It's, for us, like, Gracie's bed is clearly a source of comfort for her, and it's not punishment. She wants to go there on her own, and it works the same way with crates.
Yeah. So I think sometimes people think, crating is a bad thing, but it's not if it's done properly.
Yeah, you do. Animals are creatures of habit just like we are, and if you get a routine that is positively motivated, they're going to participate, and it's going to just give you a sense of peace that they like to go in their room, so to speak.
Well, that's kind of like at 9 o'clock when I say, This is WCRS, and I'll be back after the break. Gracie gets up from the thing and says, okay, it's time to go out.
Right. She knows.
She knows. She knows. And then at 9:30, when Ree comes in with the scrambled eggs, she knows it's time for the scrambled eggs.
I'm going to come be your pet because I would like scrambled eggs in the morning, and I don't even get that.
That's right.
But have you noticed that the time change for daylight savings, they adjust too?
Yes, they do.
know because they know our patterns have changed, and they adjust that hour.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
It
how they
is.
do that.
It is. And she is very regimented. In fact, her best days are when I follow her regiment. I get off her regiment, then we have a problem.
You know what, Ann? Truthfully, we're not training them.
They train us.
And they are so smooth. They're like, oh yeah, we got this. And you're just doing exactly what they want.
Exactly. But you also have some other programs that I was very interested in. You can actually become a foster parent for dogs. Do they do it for cats too?
Yes,
or just
yes.
Okay,
yeah,
for both?
we'll do it for each. You and I were speaking before we went on the air that I really want to promote a foster home program for the dogs that we know are going to rescue. So it's a very specific amount of time. You're not left with the pet endlessly. It could be 2 weeks, it might be 4 weeks, it might be 1 week. But think about this, you're saving 2 lives.
Right.
You're helping to get this animal to rescue because you're giving a place to stay. You're opening up a kennel for another animal to have a place to stay. So fostering is sort of satellite shelters, but in this case, we don't need to show these animals to the public because they're up for public adoption. They're already going to rescue to a home already found up there. They just need a way station to stay for a short period of time.
So it's kind of like hotel. You're
Yeah.
staying in the hotel for a
Right.
couple of weeks, yes?
And then move on up. And so we really want to get moving forward with this program. And I have to admit that this time of year is difficult to launch any new program because we're so busy at the shelter just trying to maintain what's going on. But this is something we're tippy-toeing towards right now. I think there's about 20 animals out on foster. We also foster out younger animals because they're the most vulnerable to get sick and not survive in a shelter. And we have more younger animals coming in right now.
Sure.
So we have people that they know the routine. You don't want to have your own pets if you have some blend with these because you don't want to expose either
Right.
to any kind of illness. So there are specific guidelines to be a successful foster parent. But what it's also kind of neat, it's like being a grandparent. It's not your kid, but you get to enjoy the pleasure of having the grandchild for
And
a
you
short
can
while.
spoil it for a while and then say,
Yes.
they'll have to deal with it.
Yeah, and then you know that it's over with. And if you don't want to take another pet immediately after that one leaves, you can give yourself a break. To me, it's a really great program.
Sure. Because you get to enjoy a pet, but not have to have it for long term.
Exactly.
And if you're lucky, you can still communicate with the people that adopt.
Absolutely. And you commented you love seeing the posts on our Facebook page when we get the pictures of the rescue dogs in their new home in whatever state they've moved on to. And the foster people do stay in touch because it's like their pet. They felt like they were part of that underground railroad to get them up north. And it's a great warm, fuzzy experience, definitely.
That's cool. Hey, I'm here with Karen Pettay. We'll be right back. Don't you go away. This is WCRS right here in Greenwood. We'll be right back. Oh, that's right. We're right back here, Sharp Passett's Gallery, having a good time this afternoon. Hey, coming up on Saturday morning from 8 to 12, we are going to have a tent sale going on outside. We'll be selling gems at ridiculously low prices, and fossils and arrowheads and all that kind of good stuff. We've got stuff that hasn't seen daylight for years in the vault, and we're going to bring it out.
And
Yes?
I spend way too long since I've been here. Fossils?
Fossils. Yes, we have fossils. Fossil fish and...
You've expanded your product line.
Yes, we have, quite a bit. So come on out Saturday morning and get some ridiculous deals. We'll start that at 8 o'clock and run till 12 o'clock. And then we're shutting down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So we wanted to speak a little bit about becoming a foster parent. Can anybody be a foster parent, or are you looking for something special in foster parents?
Well, there would definitely, it'd be almost like adopting.
Mhm.
Because you want to make sure that the home is going to be okay for adding a new pet. There's no holes in the ground, holes in the fences that the pet or the dog can get out. It's certainly safe for the family, and if they have pets, that there's certain measures taken that will prevent any mishaps. And so there's a home visit. We don't do that for adoptions generally, but there would be a home visit, and there's an application and a manual so that the foster parent has full disclosure going into this, it's just not like borrowing a dog for a week. That there are certain things that if something happens, you got to make sure what to do, know what to do, who to contact, and I think once you get into the routine of it, it is simple. There's people who do this all the time.
Sure.
I mean, McCormick Humane Society, they basically exist on having foster homes, and then they take the pets to retail outlets for adoption events.
Sure. So it is. It would be a fun way to have an animal for a few weeks, or a couple of weeks, or maybe just a week, and then know that you're off the hook.
Right. Absolutely.
You know
There's
what?
an end to it.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a huge responsibility in adopting a pet and doing it well. Now, I guess you can tie them up in the backyard and throw food out there and do that, but if you're going to do it right, it takes a lot of time. Gracie takes an enormous amount of time, and every once in a while I think, why did I do this to myself? But then she runs around here in the store and does something crazy, and you go, how could we not have her here?
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she is part of our family. I happen to be telling you that the people that I got her from called me at Christmas this last year, and I've had Gracie 2.5 years, I guess going on 3 years, and she wanted to know if I would consider giving Gracie back. I mean, my heart, I was just like, excuse me? And she told me, well, we'd like to have her back. And I was like, but you didn't want her when I took her. You wanted to get rid of her.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I guess. They probably would take her back, and probably not too long afterwards would be regretting that they had done it. And
But just think about Gracie. Think about her psyche. Her psyche.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, she is.
We see that all the time. Yes, we see that. That's probably the first thing when an owner relinquished pet comes in. Just the shock and the confusion, and that breaks our heart.
Sure.
Equally as anything else that goes on there that breaks our heart. They don't understand, and to watch them, I'm going to start crying, when that owner leaves, and it's not easy for all the owners, but some you can tell there's just not that love connection. The animal doesn't know that. The animal has undying, unconditional love, and when that person walks away and drives off, it brings the whole staff to their knees.
Yeah, it's very traumatic, very, very traumatic, and it's very, very traumatic for the pet, for the animal. Because they can't understand. You can't explain to an animal why you can't keep them anymore, regardless of what the reason
and things
is.
happen. I'm not trying to say that every person who has to relinquish their pet is being cold-hearted. But from an animal perspective, I'm just saying strictly from that,
right.
And they don't understand, and they are hoping you're coming. It's like if you go away to work and your dog's at home, they don't know you're coming back, and when you do, they're like, oh my gosh. It's the same thing. They're hoping, that they're very present in the moment, and they're thinking that you're coming back, or whoever's coming back,
Sure.
and they're in a cage, and they're with other animals and smells and sights that are going. It's just overload.
Sure is. So, and there are situations every day where people need to, whether they're moving, whether they've got a job, whether, something has changed in their life. And it's not easy on them, but it is particularly, I think, hard on the animal, because you can't sit there and reason with them as to why this is happening.
Well, and in that sort of limbo state that they're in at the shelter, there's also the positive in that sometimes, a lot of times, and I think the people relinquishing them would agree, they're going into better situations. If you can't take care of your pet, that's okay. It happens. Finances, whatever. If you just may not be a pet person, but you got a pet for some reason.
Sure.
Then you don't need to keep it just to keep it, and don't tie it up in the backyard and toss it food now and again. That is not doing the pet a service, and you're miserable. Admit it, you're miserable. So if contact the shelter and let's see if there's something that we can do to help.
Sure, and that is a good thing to do. Now, speaking of contacting the shelter, what is the number out there to call?
It's 864-942-8558.
Okay, so call them out there if you have questions. Now, you also, you're working towards having the shelter. You think in 120 days that at least you'll have a plan put together.
Right.
And then I guess you would move forward.
So the end of the year. I was doing the math.
On your fingers, yes. Yeah, okay. So that will be exciting to finally have a point to head towards.
Right. I know. I kind of feel like I've been the boy crying wolf for so long, but we're at a point now where it's truly a reality, and I think it's true. Everyone acknowledges, including the county, the shelter that we're in just is not going to stand up much longer. So it's not even a matter of just, hey, let's do this thing because we can. We have to do this thing because we must.
Right. And of course, are you still needing any volunteers out there at the shelter?
All the time, and now we have T-shirts.
T-shirts for volunteers.
Yes,
okay.
and believe it or not, we've had more volunteers come up.
Because of the T-shirts?
Yes.
Okay.
We have orientations the first Saturday of every month, so I think that's August 2nd will be the next one, 10 o'clock at the Adoption Center. Lasts about an hour. Go over safety rules and guidelines and just a basic, quick, general education of what you can do. And we want to find out what you want to do. There may be something you want to do, not even at the shelter, but from home that could be a great benefit to us.
Sure. So you've got volunteerism. What else do you need to get out there? We haven't talked about.
I want to mention the trap, neuter, return program and just clarify a couple things. It's not trap, neuter, release. You just don't fix them and say good luck and send them in some open field. You want to return them back to the colony location that they came from. They're very territorial. They know.
We're talking about cats.
Thank you. Yes. Stop me. Yes.
We're not
cats.
talking about beavers here.
This is no. I haven't.
Okay.
No. These are for feral cats or community cats that you see them probably behind restaurants, gas stations, convenience centers. They're there because there is a food source.
Sure.
Okay. So if you remove those cats and there's still a food source, guess what's going to happen?
More cats?
Exactly.
Right.
So you can't remove them in those cases. It's just not going to work out that way, and it's not worked for 30, 40 years, so there's been new progressive thinking over the last 10 or 20 about trap, neuter, return, and you prevent them from reproducing. They manage their own colony. There's enough food for them. The behavior changes drastically. The fights, the health is better, and it just makes for a nicer environment. The cats are actually good for keeping, rodents away and other pests, and they keep other cats from coming into that area too.
So they protect their area.
Very much so.
And they won't let more cats into their area if
No.
more cats can support it.
So we've had a pilot program that the county funded starting back in January, and we had thought we'd trap about 30 cats. We trapped about 51, and it has been a tremendous success. The project was a learning process, and we're figuring out as we move along how to then go forward and be able to help people in the community who want to trap, neuter, and return cats that they know are in their neighborhood or at a restaurant. Like I said, for now, what we can offer, we can't afford to pay for those surgeries outside of the project work that we're doing. You can borrow a trap from us. You can trap the cat, and it can go on the Animal Allies transport to the low-cost facility. They have a special price. I believe it's $40 or $45 to get spay or neuter and shots, full deal. They notch the ears so you know which cats have been spayed or neutered. So if you trap again, you go, oh, Bob, I got you again. You can let Bob out. No pun intended. But you can also check with your local vets. They may also have some feral cat services they can provide.
Right.
But just know that you can still do it. Don't wait on us. We can't take care of the 12,000 projected number of cats.
12,000?
Yes, based on our population. So I promise you, we need the community to help participate in this. We can't do it ourselves.
12,000?
Yes.
Hanging out all around Greenwood.
Big county.
Big county. Yeah, it is a big county.
So you think about how you go uptown behind the restaurants. I keep hearing, oh, there's kittens mewing. Oh, there's a little brown one we feed. They're everywhere. And that's just
and
the
the
way
little
it is.
one grows up to be a big one.
That's right, and they want to make more little ones.
That's right.
So trap, neuter, return is the way to tackle this overpopulation of feral cats, but they also serve a purpose. Don't try to domesticate them if they're adult. Just don't even try. They don't want to be domesticated. They're happy being the way they are.
What would happen if you did?
I don't know. You can.
Okay.
You might end up bleeding. So
Bleeding.
no,
Okay.
I would not recommend that at all. Even we have trapped 4 kittens at the site. We got them when they were about 5 weeks old, and they're hissing at us. But we successfully have domesticated them. We've adopted out 2 already. We have 2 new ones, and they're precious.
Okay.
But you have to get them at that young age. You can do it then. But when they're adults and they've crossed the puberty line, just don't even try. Just let them be. Let's get them fixed. We're making more. I'll tell you what, I can't even imagine the number of kittens at this one location if we hadn't done what we did over these last 7 months.
Wow.
Because 2 litters have been born because there's still 2 females and 2 males that we haven't been able to catch.
They're crafty.
And yes, they
Yes.
are crafty. No kidding. And it's harder to trap this time of year because there's a lot of food sources, so they're not so inclined to want to go into the trap.
Right.
Wintertime we have found to be much more successful.
Wow. Well, Karen, it is always a pleasure to have you on. Saturday, you'll be uptown Greenwood,
Correct.
right? And you can go on the website and see the supplies and whatnot that you're looking for. But basically, you're looking for kitten food, puppy food, dog food.
Right.
Is that basically?
Bleach, paper towel. I mean, the basics. If you go to the wish list, you'll see some things that are very affordable. If you go shopping, just grab a couple extra too of those things that you would get anyways and take them on out, because I promise you we use a lot of the same products you do at your own home.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here, Karen.
Thank you, Ann.
All right, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Gracie.
All right, this is WCRS right here in Greenwood. Bye-bye, everybody.